Let's talk some baseball, shall we? Let's talk
Go to the NL West.
some NL West, which, by the way,
it's always daylight out there because they play the game so late.
Powerhouse division here.
It really is.
Yes.
When you look at it, and look, we understand the Dodgers are still the Dodgers, but it does feel like they're gettable this year, potentially.
The odds are even saying that minus 125 for them to win the division, but plus 135 on the Padres to win the division, right? So, I mean, we're talking, and it wouldn't surprise me if this closes a little bit by the time we even approach opening day when people really fully get a grasp of what the Padres have in store. But, but for me, Dave, I'm actually going to hold off a little bit on the Padres. I actually plan to bet the Padres to win this division, but I'm going to hold off and see if they stumble a little bit out the gate because, listen, there are reinforcements coming. We talked about that whenever we were talking about the Phillies, that Bryce Harper is on the way. Well, Fernando Tatis still has to finish out the rest of his suspension. Joe Musgrove is dealing with an issue as well, so he won't be in the rotation. So you do have reinforcements coming here for this Padres team. And so for me, at the plus 135, maybe this thing, they stumble out of the gate a little bit. I mean, it's a 162-game season, guys. And so the fact that these odds are going to react to a few game sample size, it's wacky, but it does. It happens, right? I mean, it will happen. The odds will drift. If I can get more of that 150, 155, something like that on the Padres, if they start, 3-7, or something like that. Like I'm all in on that.
And that's I think a really smart way to handicap it because I think you just laid out when you look at Musgrove and Tatis, for instance, that maybe they do get out of the gate a little bit slowly. The Dodgers could get out fast. I don't see any reason why the Dodgers wouldn't. Look, the Dodgers lineup is still good. Yeah, there's no Trey Turner this year, but it's the pitching. It's the pitching that they're going to go, well, is it really dependable for 162? Like, it probably can hold up for a while, but, like, where's Clayton Kershaw now? What is he now? He's not an ace anymore, right? So is he a 3? I mean, it almost seems sacrilegious to talk about a guy like Kershaw, who's going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, in that context. But Father Time, as we know, is undefeated. If pitching is an issue, could they be a team that once you get to the deadline, they go, okay, Jacob deGrom's not really working out in Texas. We'll take that. Like something like that, where the Dodgers always seem to buy now. That if you worry that if they are not hitting on all cylinders and they feel like they're an arm away from really being that team, they might get a whole hell of a lot better come summertime.
Yeah, they'll make a move. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of those. They just do it every.
That's what they do.
I mean, they just do it every single year, and so you kind of take a look. I mean, the lineup. It really is. You look at these Padres. You look at the Padres and the Dodgers. I mean, it's Betts, Freeman, Smith, Muncy. By the way, if you didn't pay attention, guys, they acquired JD Martinez.
Yeah, pretty good.
By the way, so he's now in this lineup as well. David Peralta. Then you got Trace Thompson. So these are guys that are just like 1 through 9 on this team is just going to be absolutely absurd. And they even have some bench guys that might platoon and stuff that are really good as well. Kershaw, Urias. They got Syndergaard in that rotation as well now. Dustin May. And then what they're going to do with that 5th slot is still at least a little bit up in the air right now.
But we're depending on Thor. Like, look, as a Metropolitan fan, there's a part of me that loves Noah Syndergaard, and then there's a part of me that goes, I don't know if I could ever trust him. Like, can I trust him? We talk about how many starts, right? Like, if DeGrom gets 30 starts, he's going to win the Cy Young in the American League. How many starts can Noah Syndergaard get? And really, could he ever be Thor like he was pre-arm injuries? Because in Anaheim, he just didn't look like the same guy.
No, but he learned to pitch as opposed to throw. And that's like one of the things that I think that, with him, look, he's the 3rd, 4th starter in this team for sure. And I think if you look at Noah Syndergaard, your 3rd, 4th starter, I think you feel probably pretty good about it, right? I mean, like, he's not the guy that throws 100 anymore, so he actually has to pitch a little bit. And we saw some success. I still expect, I mean, he'll still be a 4 ERA guy and all that. But I mean, for a 4th starter, that's not the worst thing in the world, right? No. And so, I think that certainly with those bats too is going to give him some leeway, and I think this team is still going to be really, really good. Now, the win total is interesting to me. Sitting at 95.5, like, I don't know if I could go over, right? I mean, I think that this Padres team is certainly going to steal some wins. And listen, let's not take anything away from an up-and-coming Diamondbacks team, a Giants team that I'm not really high on, but I certainly think, again, could be at least in the mix as kind of a 500-ish, maybe slightly above 500-ish team. I mean, if the Diamondbacks play to kind of like what they're projected to be more like next year or the year after, because they have a ton of prospects and they're a super young team, and maybe they steal some of these wins as well. So it would be an under or pass for me on the Dodgers because trying to get this team to 96 wins, I don't think that that's anything I'm super interested in.
We see the D-backs number on the screen right now, and you see the long shots there. Obviously, 74.5 wins. You're not expecting a pennant or a division title at 50 or 70 to 1. So maybe that would be the only way you would look at that market. If you saw the Dodgers, the only number that would intrigue me if I was to bet a future in the Dodgers, it was 5 to 1 to miss the postseason. The only reason why I bring that up is if everything goes wrong, if Kershaw can't stay healthy, if Thor can't stay healthy, they can't go out there and get a big name. They're probably going to find one. If the bottom of the lineup, the 7, 8, 9, isn't as good as they're anticipating it to be, and then you look at the NL East and go, there's potentially 3 playoff teams there in Atlanta, Philadelphia, and New York, right? And then you start to run out of spots. If San Diego wins the West, if the Giants are a little bit better, Giants, by the way, 10 to 1 right now in the marketplace to win that division. Is that something that could intrigue, or do you think that they'll just say, no, I've got to figure out a way that this team is at least in the postseason, so we'll get resources, money, i.e., spend it at the deadline, and make sure we don't miss the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just one of those. The wheels would just completely have to come off. Yeah, they would have to just completely fall. And it's not talking about losing one of the bats. I think it's probably having to lose multiple of the bats and all the different things like that. I just don't know if it actually gets there. I mean, one of the other things that's going on in this division as well is with the Diamondbacks, and you mentioned, their win total's under 500, but Corbin Carroll is the favorite to win the NL Rookie of the Year. And if you look at kind of where he's going to be in that lineup, I actually think it's right. He's likely to hit either first or second in that lineup. He has 20-20 potential for sure. He's got that type of speed and he's got that type of power. He walks a decent amount, so you're probably looking at like a 330, 340-ish kind of on-base percentage and stuff. So, I mean, it's a short number. I'm not going to bet a plus 330 or whatever, 340, whatever he might be to win Rookie of the Year, but I honestly think it's pretty valid that he's the short shot here because the opportunity that he's given and, of course, the skill set that comes along with it.
I love it. I think you're right, though, that the bottom of the division is going to be a little bit better than what we're used to in years past in the NL West.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.